Okay, so this is where we ended the previous video. So as I was saying, look at what they participated in, what are the extracurricular activities, because these are things that give you an indication of a child's participation. What are they good at? What are they working on? For example, if they have gross motor difficulties, which are like running and jumping and walking and the arms, the bigger movements of the arm and legs. If, for example, they participated in sport, we can see that some work has been done in the area of gross motor development. So this is important for you to fill out as a teacher. Okay, and then you'll also look at the cumulative record card. So it looks at the grades that the child has been through and exactly where they have been in terms of their marks achievement, and basically just what the progress has been. So it must be completed annually by the registered teacher or the registered teacher, which is the class teacher in most cases, and alternatively a computer generated report with all the information may be attached to this pages annually. So if you don't fill this in, you need to put a report in here at least once a year. But it needs to have all the information of all the term in there. And that'll just basically on the senior phase and then the FET phase as well. Okay, then it talks to you about what, or it gives you a guideline and place the following information in this profile document. So what exactly needs to be in this document, what you need to include, and then the details of the class or the registered teacher here. So it keeps track of who has taught the child and who was responsible for completing the information that was supposed to be completed for the child. Okay, I'm going to try to go through this slowly, but not so slow that you're going to become frustrated. So this is the SNA. We're going to look at the SNA 1 and the SNA 2, which is both at school level. So you're going to complete this. The date of birth, the ID number, all of this information. So it's a lot of paper, a lot of documents for one child. So that's something we need to know off the bat. Okay. So support needs assessment, SNA 1 and 2, the school level intervention. So this is what the document looks like. So it's both SNA 1 and 2 must be completed at school level. Okay. And also the learner profile, the SNA 1 and 2 will be required when support requested from the DBST support team. So you must have this before you can give it to the DBST. So this is what the document looks like. You have your areas of concern. When did you become aware of this? How did you become aware of it? It's a lot of paperwork to complete. Complete the following table with regards to the learner's scholastic profile. So you're going to complete that as well. And it's essential that you get all of this information correct or completed. So that's the SNA 1, and this is the rest of the document. So strengths and needs of the learner. I'm not going to go through this because you can go through this step by step. It is uploaded to Moodle, but I'm just taking you through this so that at least we can look at the important areas together. Health, wellness, and personal care. Remember what I said earlier about you can see instances of neglect on a child's appearance. I'm not saying it's always neglect, but you also maybe understand the situation at home. Maybe it's poverty, and maybe the family needs help, but they're not ready to ask for help. So those are just indications. Teachers' intervention, very important. What are the interventions that you put in place? What are the successes and challenges? Don't put all fluffy things. Be honest, be open, because it's for the best interest of the child. It's just not about assessing you as a teacher. What have you put in place? What has it been reviewed? When has it been reviewed? What has been successful? What has been ineffective? What have the challenges been? And especially if the challenges are resources and money and budget, if they're in that realm, because then when it goes to the DBST, you can say there that we could have done this had we had this resources, or I could have done this if I had this mentoring support or training. In that way, you as a teacher can get training because it'll be in the best interest of the students and of the children in your class. So remember to be honest about the challenges, because it will actually help you. It won't be a strike against you, but you can say, look, if I had this and this and this, it would be very helpful. And then the DBST needs to make a plan to support you in that manner, because you have made a record of the fact that you had this challenge. Okay, let me just go a little bit further here. Sorry, scrolling is taking a little bit long. Okay, and then this is so it's a lot of work, guys. It is a lot of work, but it's important work to do. So this is the SNA 2, Assessment and Intervention by the School-Based Support Team. So this is for the School-Based Support Team. It must be completed by the SPST in consultation with the teacher. Okay, not alone. Teacher must be there because the teacher has all the information. They know the learner best. The SPST can't just go in one day, look at the learner and make a decision, talk to the learner. No. And remember the parents are obviously involved in terms of they know what's happening at the school at all points, right? But they don't have to be in this meeting. So this is the document to be filled in by the SPST, this confidential document. The summary of identified barriers to learning and support that was implemented. Remember, child may not have one barrier to learning, they may have many. They may, for example, they may a barrier could be that they're hyperactive or that they're inattentive. A barrier could be that they're impulsive. It could be that they're forgetful because remember, children with ADHD have problems or challenges with executive functioning. And executive functioning is necessary for goal settings and planning and how to do things. It affects memory as well. So all of these things must be identified. Maybe there's poverty at home, so they don't have resources. So this could also be a barrier to learning. All of these need to be identified. Then what is the individual support plan? Areas in which support is needed. So it's behaviorally, social, communication, language. What is the target? So this is an example. Let me look at the example rather. So the area in which support is needed is behavior and social competence. The target to be achieved, stop bullying behavior. What is the strategy? So assign a mentor teacher to support the learner, raise awareness during assembly, review school and conduct policy, and calling the parent and guardian. Who is responsible? The principal. So remember the SPST has planned this, right? So what is the time frame within a week? And this is the review date, and then you'll put comments there. So it's a very specific document and it must be filled in very specifically. Okay. So if all of this is still challenging, you'll fill in form DBE 120, like we spoke about very quickly earlier. Document. So it's a request for support from a district-based support team that must be completed by the SPST only when requesting support from a DBST. So if you need the DBST to get involved for the best interest of your learner, because they can provide a lot more maybe than sometimes a school can, especially poorly resourced schools. And if maybe there needs to be a ramp built at the school or whatever the case is, if a child with is presenting with ADHD and you need an educational psychologist to help support the process, then you fill out this form and you refer to the DBST. So you fill out this form, the principal's professional judgment on request for support from a DBST. So this must all be completed and then sent to the DBST. So that the support needs assessment form, which is the SNA 3, so the district-based support team level. So we looked at I'm going to quickly here. So this is the form to fill out for the DBST. Okay, so now we move to when the DBST now receives the information. So this is the SNA 3, which is to be filled out by the district-based support team at the DBST level. And this is, they'll put the school year, then the learner information, the name and surname, the date of birth, ID, and then the CMS number. Okay, then the district-based support team intervention, they review the information and the supporting documents from the SNA 1 and SNA 2 that you as a teacher and the SPST have filled out. So they look at, has everything been there? Do they with identification, yes or no, and they'll say why. Remember, this isn't putting you in a bad light, but they just have different set of skills and they might be able to see things differently. Then the guidelines for support, when determining support for the learner or the school, the DBST must use the following procedures or guidelines. The learner has a right to be supported in his school, or the school closest to his home. Irrespective of the level of support required, every effort should be made to make the support available to the learner in his or her current or closest school. So not to send the child like far, far away unless that is the only support, the only school that can provide the support that is needed. So that is in a high level care situations or circumstances. The outplacement of the learner to alternative setting to access a specialized support program should be the last resort, like I say, but it's also sometimes the best option in some cases if high support is needed. And also then the DBST will look at the table to rate the level of support. Use the table below, which we're going to see, to rate the level of support to be provided to the learner and the school, and include the DBST action plan. So this is the table. So where exactly, what kind of support is needed? Low support or moderate support? Specialized support, curriculum assessment, and so on and so forth. So you need to go through that. And that is the high support. So specialized support. We need to train, sometimes staff need to be trained specifically with specific situations and specific cases. So this is very important, and this is why the DBST needs this guideline to know what exactly what exactly is needed and what support level is needed, and they then know if they need to upskill or provide training to staff or even parents. So this is a checklist. I love this checklist. It's a lovely one. It helps to determine the decision on support to be provided to the learner, and this must be used and motivated in the DBST action plan. So look at this checklist. It's very specific. So support needed from who? So from the psychologist or the physiotherapist or the audiologist. So audiologist will come in when there is hearing difficulties or the auditory processing difficulty. So that's like fantastic for you to have these people that are able to work with the child. How often do they need to see the child? Daily, once a term, once a year? Where's the money going to come from? Is there money in the school budget or full service school outreach? Okay, or the district advisory service, outside source or outplacement. Then curriculum and assessment support, inputs from curriculum advisors. So lots of people can help in this process if we know how to access these services. Curriculum advisors, circuit managers, intern educational psychologists, they can all help you to access this process. Specialized services and devices like Braille textbooks. So these are the assistive devices, individual assistive device, adapted activity sheets. These are available. You don't have to recreate it as teachers. You don't have to do it all by yourself. These things exist. You just need to know how to access it. And this is the process of accessing it. Then training, orientation of school staff, the school management team, the school governing body, teachers, and so on. How often should this be provided? Once a month, periodically, and where does what budget is tapped for this? We're going to look at Form DBE 121 now, but I want to say something before we go. As a teacher, you might feel powerless sometimes. What can you as a teacher have the right to be supported by your curriculum advisors and the district-based support team? And you can, and I say this without, I personally feel that the department is doing a great job. I've been in the department, I've worked with the department. I feel like they're doing a great job. And I feel like teachers don't know that because they're based in these schools and they feel like, are we getting support for them? I personally feel like they do a lot and they are trying to do a lot. They're very understaffed, as many schools, as many institutions in this country, but they're doing a lot of work and they're trying their best. And one educational psychologist, for example, needs to see 25 schools, and 25 schools may have 1,000 learners in it. So you can imagine one person to 25 learners. That's not the exact number, but I'm just giving you an example. So these people are very overwhelmed and very overworked as well, but they are doing their best. But if you as a teacher do not feel supported, you can report the matter and say, you know what, the person higher than them, I'm not getting the support I needed, and then you can access the support. It's all about finding the support, but I still say that our circuit managers and our advisors are very helpful and they are there to support you, but you as a teacher need to take the step to say, I need help. I need support. If you don't have a functioning school-based support team, get in your circuit advisor and say, please help us. Show us what to do. How do we do this? We have so many learners. What do we do? Is there any money in your budget to help us get people to give us training or help people to support us in this process? Use your resources. Okay, getting dramatic now. Okay, so Form DB 121. We spoke about it earlier, we mentioned it earlier. It's a plan of action in relation to the learner. So what is the plan of action being put in place? The parent or legal guardian must be on board here. We need to say, do they agree? This is filled in by the DBST. Okay, right. So let's move on. I'm going to have to do another video after this because we still are not at the end of this process and this. Okay. Form DBE 122. You don't need to know this intensely, but I just want to give you a snapshot of what is being done with the DBST. So it's plan of action in relation to the school. So the summary of the school needs, do the staff need to be trained? Do they need assistive devices? Do they need human resource development, whole school development? Do you need SPST training like I spoke about earlier? Does even the learner representative council development, do they need to be developed? There must be parental development. Look at all the resources available, guys. We feel overwhelmed because we don't know how to access the resources that are actually available to us and are our right as educators and learners. So we'll speak more about this in the next video.